The story of Jesus is an allegory for something that happens in your brain. The word Christ means Christos in Greek, meaning oil. There is a sacred fluid in your brain called cerebrospinal fluid, which is what the ancients called Christ oil. Every religion has a sacred river. For the Egyptians, it's the river Nile. For Christians, it's the Jordan River. This river is your spinal cord. Jesus, the oil, was in Nazareth, the top of the river, which corresponds to the skull, with Joseph and Mary. Joseph is the male pineal gland, Mary is the female pituitary gland. King Nazareth wants to kill Jesus, the oil, so Jesus goes down the Jordan River, which is the oil being released from the brain down your spinal cord, to Bethlehem. Jesus going to Bethlehem corresponds to the Dead Sea part of the Jordan River. The Dead Sea is your sacrum bone, where the cerebrospinal fluid goes to the bottom of the spinal column. Joseph and Mary are waiting for Jesus to return up from the bottom of the river back to Nazareth. Joseph corresponds to the pineal gland, the male, and Mary corresponds to the pituitary gland, female. When Jesus returns from Bethlehem to Nazareth, he gets crucified and killed at the age of 33 in a place called Golgotha. Golgotha translates to a place in the skull. The human spine has 33 vertebrae, so this process of Jesus is symbolic of the cerebrospinal fluid produced in the brain falling down the spinal column and being resurrected through a Kundalini awakening. This is the same reason why Santa Claus comes down the chimney with presents, drops them off, and returns. Returning the cerebrospinal fluid is said to open up parts of your brain that were not active before. It also helps sustain and regenerate the life of the cells of the body. Therefore, the story of Jesus is about the resurrection of the human life and consciousness. The fastest way you can make money is by not chasing money. Instead, we need to shift our mindset. Money is the effect of what you do. If we only focus on the money, we will feel unfulfilled when we reach it, and we'll be forever chasing in this rat race. Instead of wanting money, we should want to create as much change and benefit to people as possible. If a person buys your service, give them 120%. Make sure that you're going to look after this person. The more you change people's lives and the more people's lives you change, the money will come as a side effect of your good work. I wake up in the morning and the first thing I think is, how can I benefit people? How can I make them learn something new about themselves? If we only focus on money, we will stress, we'll have anxiety, we'll never feel fulfilled. Your body is the earth, and if you don't think so, you can stay lost in the matrix. The body is a piece of technology that runs a simulation to your consciousness. We never truly encounter the external world. Everything we feel, we touch, is the brain's interpretation of electrical signals going through our nervous system. We don't hear with our ear. What we hear is our brain's interpretation of the vibration entering our ear. You touch, taste, smell, hear, and see with your brain. Reality is a simulation produced by the physical body. The mainstream media wants you to think that you are inside this universe and you are experiencing the universe. But in fact, you are the universe creating the universe right now. They want you to think reality was created and now you're just experiencing it, when in fact it's the complete opposite. Reality is not fixed, it's malleable. We, as a collective, change and generate the universe. Creation is never ending. Your mind, emotions, thoughts, all of these things exist outside of time, space, and matter. Your higher consciousness uses the body as a vessel to interact with the 3D world. This is why the occult says mind over matter, the internal world controlling the external world. Do not let the external world control you. If you watch pornography, you train yourself to use other people. If you watch pornography, you're using someone else on a video so you can feel something inside of you. Subconsciously, this makes you view other people as an object. If you watch pornography, you're training your brain to be the person in the corner of a room watching other people have pleasure. Subconsciously, this can ruin your confidence because in the back of your mind, you know you're doing something wrong in your alone times. Lust is considered a sin is because it destroys life. Orgasm floods the brain with dopamine, which trains your brain to think that you have achieved something, which then slowly eats away at your motivation to actually achieve something great in your life. You're training yourself to view people as objects. You're training yourself to destroy your motivation, and you're training yourself that you have achieved everything. How is it the ancients carved out the interior of the stone so detailed and sophisticated? With a hammer and chisel, you would damage the exterior design. What you are seeing here is the leftovers of the ancient human mind. All physical creation is first created in the mind, so this shows how intelligent the ancients truly were. So the question is, what do all these words have in common? They all have the word meant in them. What does the word meant mean? It means mental. The word meant comes from a Latin word mens, which pretty much means mind. Environment. I always say, your environment is stronger than your willpower. The people you surround yourself with are affecting your mental state, and your mind is the seed of all physical creation. Physical creation is a manifestation and crystallization of thought, the mind. Government. Govern mind. The word government literally means mind control. Enlightenment. Light in the mind. You become enlightened the more information you have inside of your mind. Knowledge is power. Advertisement. It's all a mental game to make you and paint pictures in your mind to make you desire something so you take an action and buy a product. It's all a mental game. You have to learn how the mind works. If you do not know how the mind works, you will lose in life, because life is very simple. It is a mental game, and this matrix is a psychological game. If you don't know how to work the mind, you will lose the game. AI is ready to destroy the internet right now, and I'm here to give you a warning and a prediction of what's going to happen with AI. You've probably already seen the videos of Jake Paul doing his makeup. Yes, these are AI generated videos and you can't even tell if it's real or fake. Now, this is where the problem comes. Within the next few months, people are going to start to get framed by AI generated videos. Imagine someone creating a hyper-realistic official, doing something scandalous and claiming it's leaked footage. This could be like a politician, a person in government, and creating a video, and people believe it, and the outrage spreads. Then the censorship follows. The government of the world will step in with a new regulation saying, we need to control this technology, people are getting framed. Although this will be good on one hand because people will no longer get framed by AI videos, however, on the other hand, to the same extent of that control will extend into what we say, what we post, what we create. It will become the perfect excuse to regulate the internet on a level we've never seen before. To me, this feels intentional. Create chaos, then bring the order. Problem, reaction, solution. So be very careful. I'm giving you a warning of what's going to happen on the internet. I think it's strange how the baseball court is a Masonic compass. The baseball has 33 stitchings on each line. The baseball bat is 33 inches long and 33 ounce in weight, just like the 33 degrees of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. And if you look at Washington from above and you connect all of these locations, it creates a Masonic compass. This is a Satanic Bible created by Anton Levetsky. And he says in this book, Masonic orders have contained the most influential men in many governments. Masonry is not inherently evil. There is light and dark. There are good Masons, there are bad Masons. But this is very interesting. Did you know your heart is not actually a pump? The heart is in the shape of a chestahedron, which is a 7-sided shape where all of the surface areas are the exact same. Place a chestahedron inside of water and spin it. The water will create a vortex. If you get your heart and unravel it, it's basically one tissue but wrapped around in a vortex. If you examine the blood flow inside of the heart, it moves in a vortex spiral. The blood inside of your body is composed of approximately 55% plasma, which is also known as the fourth state of matter. Plasma is superheated matter so hot that the electrons are stripped away from the atoms, forming an ionized gas. Therefore, the heart's primary function is not to pump blood, but acts as a valve. The lungs are responsible for drawing in oxygen like a pump, which then enters the bloodstream. The heart receives the oxygenated blood, transforming the water in the blood into ionized gas plasma, which then energizes the whole body. The heart also creates an electromagnetic toroidal field known in science as a biofield, which warps around your body. And this electromagnetic field also moves in a vortex spiral just like your heart. Maybe this is why Jesus is always pointing at the heart, because this is the spring of life within the human body. The heart is not a pump, but a valve. Rudolf Steiner, an ancient occultist, knew this and even did lectures on this. He believed the human heart was the vessel of the soul to allow life force of the soul to enter into the physical body and animate it life. The biggest cheat code in life is understanding that the world is mental. Every object you see around you was first thought, then made manifested physically. Which means mind and matter are one, they are not inseparable. Matter is the expression and crystallization of mind. Your reality is simply just a crystallization of every thought you thought in the past. This then reveals the secret that you are God. Why? Human body, nature, the stars, was all thought into existence by the mind of God. God's mind manifested the world. Now you, a co-creator of God, think your world into existence. You are a smaller version of God. The same power of thought that God used to manifest the world is the same power of thought you manifest your world. As above, so below. This is why the Bible says you are made in the image of God. Your mind is cut out of the same fabric of God's mind. Everything is a reflection within the universe. The only problem is people's thinking. People's thinking is in reaction to the external world, and the external world is simply just the effect of their mind, which creates a constant cycle of negative manifestation. We need to change the mind from reaction thinking into causal thinking, creating better causes that creates better effects. Life is simple. The ones who understand how the mind works win. The ones who understand how the mind and the human psyche works rule over the rest. This is exactly what we see today. Smoking weed every day can destroy your life because it prevents you from dreaming, and if you are not dreaming, you need to listen up and be worried. Dreaming is a form of the subconscious mind processing everything. All of the traumas that we hide, all of the thoughts that we think throughout the day, everything we see in the daytime, it's all being stored within the subconscious mind. Therefore, when you dream, you are seeing a visualization of your subconscious mind processing everything that's gone inside of you. If you do not dream, which weed prevents, then the subconscious mind is not processing. And if you are not processing something, it's all being stored within you. And it will process in another indirect way. For example, people who smoke weed all the time, like myself back in the day, I would randomly come out with outbursts of rage, outbursts of emotion, outbursts of sadness. This is because I was not dreaming, and the subconscious mind was not processing any of the emotional things going on inside of me. Anything that comes in has to come out in some form or way. Dreaming is essential for subconscious health. And if you do not process, it will seek to control you. This is why I stopped smoking weed. And yes, it's good for some reasons. You can use it for deep meditations. You can use it for other things of altered states of consciousness. But me personally, I just don't smoke it every day, and I haven't smoked it in the last 2 years. The biggest lie they ever told you is that death is a mystery. You can figure this stuff out for yourself. You die every single night. That's why they say sleep is the cousin of death. Because when you go to sleep, you return to the self inside the mind. The person who is inside your mind, who wakes up when you go to sleep, is the immortal self, the limitless self, the person that can imagine, fly around in the astral plane, fly around in your dreams. This is the infinite realm of the astral plane that you access every time you dream. And when you die, it's just a bigger version of the nighttime. Nighttime is death, daytime is life. Daytime is the external expression of the mind with the external body, the external self. And when you go to sleep, you return back to the darkness, into the internal self, the self inside the mind. That's why you're called an individual. A dual. You are dual nature, physical, spiritual. The self inside the mind will never die. That person who speaks, visions in your mind will never die. You are immortal. Why is it the ancients is always shown with this bag? My name's Harry and I've been studying symbolism for 4 years. I think I've cracked the code to what this symbol means, and it's quite shocking. Symbols speak indirectly and subconsciously to the mind. The bag is something you carry, and what you carry is information and knowledge. This knowledge can be passed on just like a bag. Then if you look into the right hand of the god, you see a pine cone. Pine cone represents the pineal gland, the seat of the third eye, the center of consciousness in the brain. The third eye is nothing but your imagination, your ability to see what is not physical. The Anunnaki god's back there is a pair of wings. Wings symbolize freedom because birds are free to fly around. Pairing all these symbols together, it represents the knowledge that can activate the third eye which will activate freedom, which is the knowledge of expanding consciousness through the imagination. Your imagination is not fantasy, it is literally a dimension that sits just above the physical plane. In the occult, they call this the astral plane, the realm of light, where you can imagine thought forms and literally create anything you wish in this plane. This is what made a human a god, the ability to transform their consciousness from physical into astral at will. They were considered masters of life, consciousness, and the universe. If you think I've missed something, let me know in the comments.